Hey, my creative friends. I'm Shannon Christensen from Shannon's Studio. I've got to stop saying Christensen because when I do the subtitles, it spells it different than mine, and I am just too... Hi, Trisha. I'm just too lazy to go in and correct it, so I think I need to stop saying my last name so people don't really think my last name's spelled that way. Anyways, so much to say about today. Remember, I think a while ago I told you guys I was more worried about getting hit by a cyclist than I was a car. Today was almost that day. I was going and I was walking in there was a blind corner, but I was actually leaving on all the sidewalks. Start this way. On all the sidewalks, there's a pedestrian side and a cyclist side on the same stretch of walkway. So this pedestrians are supposed to be close to a fence or the houses or, away from the street, and the cyclists closer to the street. And that's just kind of it's an unwritten rule, but also it's a written rule. On a lot of the streets it has the cyclist symbol and then walkers. So I'm walking on my side of the inside of the walkway, but then I have to... Oh, Germany is the same way. So I was coming around a blind curve and I started to walk out because I was going to cross the street. So I walk out and I'm kind of right in the middle of the pedestrians and the cyclists. And then this cyclist comes screaming around the corner in the pedestrian lane. And I just barely moved because I didn't see him coming either. And he screeches a little bit but can't stop. So he goes screaming by, and it's like he brushed my hair and everything, but he said sorry as he was going by, but it sounded like he was whispering in my ear. That's how close he was. And I'm going, that was so close. I am really worried about cyclists way more than cars, way more. So, but that was my only negative today. Today I went to the Nordic Museum. It was wonderful. One of the things I'm going to go back to is they have these drawers, just drawers and drawers of handwork that women have done. I assume mostly women have done, and they have them in these drawers to keep them protected, but there were just dozens of drawers, and I could only look through some, so I'm going to go back and look at that. The textiles were so great. It just was a great, and these museums, and I think with all museums, if you can spend more than one day, what a blessing. And so I'm going to be going back to that one. And they had table settings, and I saw that I learned that they used to take real swans and then gut them however they do and make them, taxidermy them. And so you have this hollowed out swan, but they would put meat dishes inside this real stuffed swan thing. And it was one of the things they did, and it was just kind of amazing to see. They also said it was unsanitary, which I know Trisha would like. I know you're thinking, anyways, I bought this little book, and somebody knows how to say, I know Margaret knows how to say this, but the little book of Hygge, if I'm saying it right. Anyways, it's a Danish book, but it kind of, in the Scandinavian countries, these kinds of things kind of just go cross-border. And it's just this key to happiness. It's this how to live comfortably and cozy and everything. So it made me make some hot chocolate, because I had some hot chocolate the other day at this cafe. And I painted a picture of it, which I'll show you at some point maybe. And anyways, it was the best hot chocolate I've ever had. And so I thought, I'm not a huge hot chocolate drinker, but this was amazing. So I decided to, after reading this and thinking of all the warm and cozy, and then Alan was saying the last couple of days, have you got hot chocolate? Did you go to the store and get hot chocolate? And I was like, no. So I made hot chocolate from scratch. I made chocolate syrup from scratch. So I took the hot chocolate, put in whipped cream on top, then I put a raspberry chocolate, which he loves raspberry chocolate, on top. Then I took the hot chocolate slice and drizzled it, dusted some cocoa powder on it, and bam! It was so good, and he felt so loved, and it was so the best hot chocolate he's ever had in his whole life. And I think it was just, I was motivated by this. I thought it was great. But anyways, it's been a good day. And really, since I've been here, and particularly since I have several hours a day now that I can go do things, I have just been so excited. You know that I've been saying that. But so positive and so just filled with even extra life. And it's so exciting. And it made me think of remember we talked about the negative loop a couple days ago. And what happens when we remunerate. Yes, I think that's the correct word I'm saying. Anyways, we go through the negative loop, and negative things people say and do seem to stick with us better. So we talking about that a little bit, but how about replacing it with a positive loop and thinking of things positively? Because I know being here and being constantly surrounded by positive, and even the things I'm talking about being positive, it just really is, it changes your feelings. And here's a quote that from this psychologist explained the benefits of baking for others. And so this is a quote from that. And hi, Amber. Good seeing you, Amber. I just was going through mentally real fast some of the things I've seen on your Facebook going on with your family. Anyways, the quote from it is: communicating good feelings, beautiful and happy thoughts, and expressing your creativity are key to getting away from negative thoughts and stress. So we talked about that negative loop. And it's the positive feelings that can help us get away from that negative loop as well. We talked about stopping it. But then if you start to replace it with the positive things, it's the key, they're saying the key to getting away from those negative thoughts. So here's another thought. How it works. Well, first I'm going to tell you this little story. There's a story in I forget which, the creative confidence, and it talks about this guy who does programs, and he emphasizes the power of a positive vocabulary, meaning he doesn't say I can't do this, I can't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that. And he takes it so far that if you hear him saying I can't, that he'll pay you $100 if you catch him saying that. So he instead uses I could if I, and then he fills in the blank. So instead of saying I can't, which is entirely, it's negative, to I could if I did this, it changes the thought pattern of what they're doing. So he does this. So this woman at Hertz Magazine who was in charge, Kathy Black, decided to try it in her business of running the magazines, and she said that they had a negative, what did she say? A negative speech patterns in her at the where she worked in. It created a hostile environment, and so she decided that she would charge everybody $10 if they said certain things. And it stopped shortly after that they said that. I mean, they changed their vocabulary to positive vocabulary. And then it says after enforcing her rule just a few times, she effectively wiped out those expressions from the office vocabulary. And then the book says, did more positive vocabulary have a broader effect? So that's the question. Does it really do things for you? So during Black's tenure at Hearst, she kept flagship brands like Cosmopolitan healthy through the toughest periods in the publishing industry and launched new mega successes like Oprah's O Magazine. And meanwhile, Black also rose to become one of the most powerful women in American business. So, hi Rose, we're talking about positive thoughts, having a positive thought loop. So the idea of positive thoughts and positive vocabulary and how it relates to creativity. This is also in there. Positive emotions free the mind to elicit big picture thinking and increase spontaneity, fluent, flexible, and original outbox thinking. So, and it enhances sensitivity when identifying problems. So there is a creative benefit to, I mean, even if you take creativity out of it, there's just a benefit to having positive thoughts and positive vocabulary. But then when you put creativity in it, it starts to bring out some of those creative benefits for people. And plus, I just think about positive people. I remember, I have an aunt who I don't like mornings, but she would wake up, and when we spent the night at her house, she would wake up and she'd be singing and so happy and all the time. She was all the time happy, and I loved being around her. And you think about that. How many people do you want to be around that are grouchy, that are constantly negative, that are constantly saying how something can't be done? We just don't tend to gravitate toward those people. Even people who are like that don't gravitate toward people like themselves. It's positivity in our actions, our thoughts, our vocabulary that really start to change how we feel. And I mean, I just know that from personal behavior. When you get out of that negative loop and you start getting into a positive one, it changes the way you think. So there was here's the last thing the quote I want to share. Thoughts become words, which you've heard this before, but thoughts become words, words become deeds. If you get the right language, it affects behavior. You know that. I know you know that. It's just a reminder, a tip to get into a positive loop, to not just wait for positive things to come to you, but actively change maybe the way you're saying things, or the way you're thinking about things, and add that positive loop in, because thoughts become words, words become deeds, and if you get the right language, it affects your behavior. And you will start to see your behavior influences those around you as a little bonus. So that is the tip for today. And I would suggest, from just reading this book and having the whole coziness and the home feeling and stuff like that, make some homemade hot chocolate. It was so good. And anyways, I will see you tomorrow. And I'm glad to see you, Rose and Amber and Trisha, and just thanks for coming and being with me. And I do the talking, but I see your little faces coming up on the thing, and it really makes me happy to see you guys. And I will see you tomorrow. But in the meantime, you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it. And I will see you tomorrow.